After an exciting Daytona 500 to get the Superstar Series off and running, we take the field out west to California, the beautiful Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, for 70 laps of racing action here. Just shy of being close to Los Angeles. This is going to be a lot of fun for everybody involved. And because this worn-out racetrack is not going to take any kind favors to these guys who are trying to survive for 140 miles around this very fast, very open, wide open 2-mile oval. And alongside me to bring you the action once again is James Ellison for the entire Superstar schedule. And this is going to be an interesting race because, like I said, you can race on the bottom here, you can race all the way against the wall, and you can race anywhere in between these 42 cars. Just because you start out back doesn't mean you can't have a shot at it by the end.
Oh, absolutely. This is quite the racetrack, and everybody's going to be using every inch of it they can. We're going to see a lot of I believe we're going to see a lot of intense action, and it's going to be real exciting. And who knows? We might see a side-by-side battle for the win.
It's going to be very interesting to see how these cars adapt, because we have not been to the Auto Club Speedway in a very long time. It's been since 2020 that we last saw the Superstar Series take on Auto Club, and after a great truck race last night, I'm sure it's going to be just as exciting here today as well, as we can now bring you the full starting lineup for today's racing action. Justin Hutchinson picks up right where he left off at Daytona, goes from outside pole there to pole position outright here at Auto Club. He takes pole ahead of a very surprised Felix Anderson, who gets his career best start in second place, a great boost for the Moto Dash Racing team. Roberto Crown Jr., Lane Sanders, Jake McMillen, the Daytona 500 winner, they all round out the top five, but a lot of surprises up at the front. You see Cam Cole making his Superstar debut. He starts sixth alongside McMillen. You got a few contenders in Tescar and Ortiz in row 4, but honestly, you can win this race from anywhere in the field. We saw it last night. It could very well happen again today.
Oh, absolutely. And looking further down the lineup, you see like Miles Mashburn, Sandinoto, Mark Davey. Like you said, anybody could win, and where they're at doesn't mean they're going to stay there. And I guarantee those three especially, they're not going to want to stay back there at all.
Definitely. They're going to want to get to the front as often as possible to get a good run of momentum to start the season. So with that being said, we have 42 cars ready to rock and roll here in Southern California, and we are ready to bring you 70 laps, 140 miles of racing action. This is the 1UP Superstar Series from Auto Club Speedway, and the green flag is mere moments away, so stay tuned because you're not going to want to miss a second of the action set to come. With the pace car making the hard left turn on the pit road, Justin Hutchinson and Felix Anderson leading us to the green flag. Green is in the air, and for the second time this season, we are underway, this time at Auto Club Speedway. Hutchinson with a good launch off the line. It just goes to show you the difference in pace that Finish Line Motorsports has compared to a minnow team like Moto Dash Racing. But Anderson doing a good job holding his own on the top groove. We'll see if it lasts as Crown goes to second.
Yep, and our Daytona 500 champions already trying to make moves for third, but kind of slipping back a little. But this is the kind of racing we'll see. Maybe a little bit more intense than this at times, but this is the milder stuff we'll be seeing throughout the day.
And Felix Anderson has rebounded from a slow getaway off the line. He's solidly now in the third position as they battle for fourth. Tescar Jr. now struggling along on the inside groove as Cam Cole makes his way up into the top 5. I was expecting him to drop immediately, but he's holding his own so far in that red and white 27 car for BTB Motorsports. An incredible start.
He's got to be on the radio with the spotter going, "What place am I in? You're in the top 5. What?"
It's gotta be exhilarating for Cam Cole making his first start of the season, the first Superstar start ever. But he might get swallowed up by the pack eventually because here comes McMillen around him. But it looks like Hutchinson and Crown are starting to break away from the rest of the field as Sanders and Anderson go side by side for the third spot. Cale Tescar Jr. going to try and join them. But so far, it's Hutchinson and Crown leading the way. And Hutchinson's always been good on these intermediates, these big, wide, fast intermediates. And Roberto Crown Jr., he's just been good everywhere. He's been so close to a victory. Maybe this could be today.
One can hope. I've said this a few times about Ricardo Crown Jr., but it always seems like something happens that brings him just short, as looks like we've had a little bit more shuffling going on around here toward the back of the top 10.
Yeah, that's Nick Ortiz in the black and gold 91. He had a dreadful Daytona 500. The only retirement from the race. Finished last. He's last in the points going into this race. He would love a top 10 run to boost him back up the order. Because this is a team that is looking for a return to victory lane. They did not win it all last year, but not for a lack of trying. I'm sure this 91 would love to be up racing with his teammate for the lead, but he's making his way up there, albeit a little slowly.
Yeah, he's got quite the hole to dig himself out of, and he's hanging on strong there, as it looked like Finn guy got a little loose for a second, but he's all right now.
And now we look at the driver who drew the most annoyance from everyone else at Daytona, that being Daniel Bouchard. He's doing a solid job in the top 10 after his little mishap at Daytona, but still at the front of the field, Justin Hutchinson leads by over half a second over Roberto Crown Jr. Sanders has gotten around Anderson for third, and now Jeffrey Finguy's latched onto the back bumper at a 53, trying to see if he can't make a move going through turns 3 and 4. Because remember, the high line is going to be your best friend in the first and second corners. You get such a good run down the back straightaway off the top, but through 3 and 4, you got so much more room on the bottom to maneuver around with. That could be really good coming into towards the end of this race.
Almost definitely. You have your front runners taking off early, but all it takes is something happening like a caution or pit stops. I know we're gonna have at least one set of that, so it's gonna be fun to watch.
And yeah, this is going to be very close to see who is going to be the master of strategy today, or if a caution flag negates it completely. We have yet to have a caution flag in the Superstar Series in 2023, and a caution-free Daytona 500, first time in several years since we've had that happen. But odds are we're going to have a very gripping race from start to finish, regardless of if we have an incident, because Roberto Crown Jr. is slowly getting caught by Lane Sanders, and this Dodge group, this 87 team, have got to be feeling good about the run they're having right now. They're doing pretty solidly, and as things run right now, they'd be top 10 in points.
Yeah, this is something that Lane Sanders needs to be able to, pardon the pun, charge to the front, and mixing my words up here, but he couldn't quite get even to the side of Crown there, but he's still got plenty of time.
We're only on lap 8 after all, and he's still in third position. This would be his best finish since his win in the 500 a few years ago. Would be certainly a great achievement for that 87 team. But here's the battle for 5th between Finguy and Teskar. Those two had a rough go at Daytona, both finishing in the midfield, not scoring a whole lot of points. But they're up at the sharp end of the field now, and I'm sure both would love to get to victory lane and join Jake McMillen as race winners this season.
Oh, they definitely would like that. And what Lane Sanders definitely doesn't like to see is that he's lost touch with the top two, who are now really close together. We might have a battle for the lead on our hands here shortly.
Yeah, can Roberto Crown Jr. get around Hutchinson is the question. Hutchinson's so good from pole position here, but Crown has been able to reel him in quite nicely. As you see in the background, Teskar getting around Sanders for third, but Roberto Crown Jr., this could be a make-or-break season for him. He's the third driver in a 3-car Kings Motorsports group. They already downsized after taking Nelson Reeves down to the Truck Series. This could be yeah, we've got, I hate to interrupt my own thought, but we've got a lot of racing action further behind the top two, as Teskar just loses out in the battle between two old friends, Sanders and Finguy, in their battle for third, but now Tescar's given a push to the 87, and Finguy's fallen back as a result.
Yeah, I'm sure Lane's already planning a thank you card for Cale Teskar Jr. on that one, even though it's still early in the race. that was definitely not a person that Lane wanted to see his inside.
But now he's got Teskar to his outside. That alliance is over. The O2 wants to get up with his teammate in the 81 to try and double team Hutchinson to try and get the lead back. But Hutchinson's led all 10 laps so far. These are his first laps led of the season, and Crown would love nothing more than to finally get that first career win. He's been so close so many times, and this could be it in his 61st time of asking.
Yeah, one can hope, but like I said, and I'll keep on saying, at least for a little while longer. Still still early going. We'll just have to keep an eye on this as everyone's favorite driver from Daytona is trying to make some moves back here.
Yeah, and I'm currently very impressed at how Felix Anderson is holding on here. Kind of expected him to fade a little through the field, kind of like how Cam Cole is fading now, but this 53 is doing a pretty nice job. He's still in the top 10. He'd probably still even in the top 5 at this rate. Battling Lane Sanders for the 4th spot. Yeah, Anderson's still hanging in there. So a great run as David Wells for Team Dayspring holds the fastest lap of the race currently. That's worth a bonus point if he can hold on to it, which he probably will unless we get a caution. But at the front of the field, Crown is reeling in Hutchinson. We'll see if he can get there.
And he keeps trying. He's trying new lines and everything. We just saw him move to the high side, trying to make some momentum, and he's doing everything he can. But man, is that 10 car strong?
I would argue this 81's just as strong though. Roberto Crown Jr., he's had flashes of brilliance in his career, but he's yet to find the key to victory lane, despite coming very close. He's got a really good car under him this time, and if he can get past this 10, I think he could make a real challenge of it. But we're only 13 laps into this race. We've got a long way to go still. But Crown is right on the back bumper of Green Ford. Gonna see if he can make a run at him here.
He's definitely making a run right now, and Hutchinson's got to be trying to keep from mirror driving, which, plenty of experience to know not to do that too much. And man, Crown's right all over him.
Gonna see if he can make the inside work now. He's sticking into the turbulent air of that 10 car. That may slow him down a little bit in the corner. You see him backing off the 10 just a little bit. You want to be in the wake of another car down the straightaways, but you definitely don't in these long sweeping turns because downforce is great. Drag is a whole nother story.
Oh, indeed. And while Crown's trying to find a way to get to Hutchinson and passing him, I couldn't help but notice Teskar is now in 3rd completely and free and clear of any competition. And he's going to try to come after these guys as well, as we see Sanders still trying to hold off everybody else.
We could see a very interesting battle going on between... if Teskar can get up there, I think he'll have something to say about who wins this race or not. But Sanders, you said it, he's doing a really nice job holding off at least 7 cars behind him. But Teskar, he's slowly starting to reel in the top 2 up front. This could be a 3-car battle and a double team from King's Motorsports.
Yeah, that would definitely be great. And you mentioned King's Motorsports. Notice Crown and Teskar up here, 2nd and 3rd. It's kind of interesting that I'm not seeing the very important 3rd car and driver up there somewhere.
Well, remember, Jared Polansky you're referring to, he started very deep in the field, so he's slicing his way through traffic as best he can, but with the level of competition that the series has seen, that could be a little more tricky than it would be in years past. However, that is still a very good car in that 18. We'll see if he can make his way up. But here we go, 3 wide for a couple positions on the outside of the top 10. And how about this 19, Autumn Koger? Had a good run at Daytona, running in the top 10 much of the race. Now she's making a push into the top 5, getting past Jeffrey Finn guy here.
Yeah, she might have something to say about who wins this race too, if she can keep this up. But
oh, we've got trouble. Trouble in turn 3, a big crash.
Oh, no.
Stephen Gale involved, Miles Mashburn. Oh, and Austin Holloman gets piled in. Jesse Johns with some damage. Caution flag waves for the first time in 2023, and that's Austin Holloman's race done. Miles Mashburn likely the same. AJ Jones looks like he's going to come in as well. Big wreck in turn 3 puts us under caution. for the first time here on lap number 18, and this will probably allow everybody to pit and make the race from here.
Yeah, that's just real unfortunate right there.
It's not good for any of these guys. Mashburn and Holloman both out of the race. And you see, Stephen Gale, he'll likely be out of the race as well. But it looks like everybody else is going to try and continue as the rest of the field's going to come down pit road. We'll get you a replay as soon as we're done with these pit stops. We'll see if the running order shakes up any as a result of this, because some of these pit crews are going to be put to the test here in just a moment.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't like talking about money stop early, but like you said, they could try to make the rest of the race from here. Pending any other situations that would cause them to pit, this could be it that would give them a good chance to do something without taking a chance of slipping up and ending up a lap or two down.
So here they come, trundling down the pit lane at pit road speed. Koger's the first of the leaders to pull off. Then Teskar, then Spin Guy. You see the car of Stephen Gale already in his pits. He's going to be done for the day. But we will see these cars make their way into their pit boxes and go to work. We'll see who wins the race off pit road from here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to watch, as I'm sure Hutchinson would love nothing more than to keep the lead, but...
Oh, yeah, he will.
Yes, he's gonna.
He's going to win the race off pit road from Crown, and looks like Teskar is going to be in a drag race with Koger for third. It looks like Teskar will win there. And
she just barely got beat.
And one big loser on this cycle of pit stops is Felix Anderson. He had a bit of a slow stop in that Muddy Dash Racing, number 53. He's going to fall out of the top 10, but no. And you see AJ Jones doing an extended stay on pit road to try and get some repair work done. Mark Davey involved in this, Jesse Johns as well. This is going to be a tough break for a lot of guys who are hoping for a great start. So Stephen Gale was running just outside the top 10. Oh, he comes straight up into Ben McDonnell in the 12, a home race for the 12. And then Mashburn's just got nowhere to go. Same with Mark Davey. That was just an unfortunate situation. And then Holloman, as Gale slides down the track, Holloman's got nowhere to go. It was just a matter of Gale thinking he was clear of McDonnell, but he just wasn't at that point.
That's just not an ideal situation for anyone who couldn't avoid the 35 coming down the track, which, of course, nobody knew until too late.
One more look at this. You'll see Gale from the bottom of the track. He just comes up high. He thinks he's clear of Ben in the 12, but he's just not. Aaron Hall tags him a little bit. Miles Mashburn just T-bones him. And you see Austin Holloman. Maybe he cut a tire on some of the debris that's flying off this 35 car. You see a bunch of it on the racetrack. But either way, that is going to end the days for Stephen Gale, for Miles Mashburn, and for Austin Holloman, our first three retirees from this race. But... and you see AJ Jones did make it back on track, and it looks like Jake McMillen's actually headed back to pit road here.
Yeah, he did get pancaked into the wall pretty good, so maybe trying to pull some sheet metal out, keep from cutting a tire, who knows, but tough break for a lot of drivers.
So our Daytona 500 winner will fall to the tail end of the field under this. Actually, both Venta Motorsport cars are going to fall to the tail end. McDonnell with some repair work, and McMillen we believe to be a loose wheel. We'll find out in a little while, but the lights are out on the pace car. We will be going green next time to get to the start-finish line. So Justin Hutchinson holds the lead. He's led all 20 laps so far. And Roberto Crone Jr., who's been hounding him for the majority of this race, runs second. Teskar third, Koger fourth, and Jeffrey Finguy, no, Lane Sanders just ahead of Jeffrey Finguy will round out the top five. And you see McMillen in the pit lane. Looks like they're either topping off or fixing that loose wheel, or both. So McMillen will have a tough go of it making his way back to the front, but he should have about a lap fresher tires than everybody else, and that could make a difference in the later stages.
It could, as long as he's able to get back out before he's lapped, which one can't wish bad luck on anyone, and I certainly don't want to do that to him.
So Hutchinson leads the way, but I think now that the field's bunched back up again, I think Crown's going to have a lot better time making quick work of this 10 car, because now he's got his teammate right behind him in Teskar. But remember, fourth car in line is Hutchinson's teammate, Koger, in the 19. So we have two Kings Motorsports cars, second and third, two finish line cars, first and fourth, and then you have Lane Sanders. Who does he help? He's got the next Dodge closest to him is Daniel Bouchard in seventh. So this is going to be an interesting battle as we're coming to the restart.
Yep, as they take the green. Pretty good start for the top four. Sanders had a little bit of a slower start, but he's keeping up pretty good here.
Barreling it off in the turn one. And Hutchinson going to try his best to fend off the challenge. But I think Crown is just that much better. He's got a little help from his teammate. We'll see if they duck out on the 10 down the back straightaway. It looks like Hutchinson gets a good run off the corner. So maybe it'll have to wait another lap. But these two are working very well together. We'll see if they can make their way to the front. As soon as I say that, they go side by side.
Yeah, that is not good. That is not being good teammates to each other. But maybe Cale just realized he's got the better car and needs to get by, but just can't at the moment, as we see Sanders under fire from his best friend.
And it would be interesting to see, because we have if Teskar thinks he has a faster car than Crown, maybe he's gonna make the argument saying, let me have a shot at Hutchinson, and if I can't make it work, I'll give it back. But I don't know, because he's not gonna get the chance, because Autumn Koger is gonna displace him for third. That was almost contact.
That 19 is pretty strong, but you can't discount the 92 either. There's a lot of fast cars, like we've talked about already, and there's quite a few of them right here, trying to figure out what they got to do to get by Crown and Hutchinson,
who have been running 1-2 at the front for the majority of this race, pretty much since lap 3. They've been running nose to tail, but now Teskar is back out in front of Koger and Finguy, so now he can try and give another assist to his teammate down the back straightaway. Crown's going to try and tuck back in line, but then I hope he'll duck back out going into the corner, because you don't want to stay in the wake of a car ahead of you in the corner, as we're 3 wide for second.
Finguy made a move, and it's stuck so far. It's just a matter of if he can clear the Kings Motorsport teammates, and right now he just can't.
Well, it looks like he'll clear Teskar into one. I don't know if he'll... Oh, actually, he might be able to clear them both down into 1 and 2. Oh, but they're going to have such a good run off the top, he might lose all that momentum he just gained. He's employing the strategy of fast in, slow out, and that is not what you want to do, especially at a momentum track like Auto Club.
Certainly not, and I couldn't help but notice the big old Cartoon Network logo back there. J.D. Martin's trying to throw his hat into the ring.
Yeah, he not only has he gotten up there, he's also gotten the fastest lap of the race. So this 66 could be a factor if he can make it to the front. Aaron Hall's made his way into the top 10, and Christian Vargas and Dylan Young battling it out for the final spot in the top 10. Those are two guys that you know are going to be a factor in this race. Dylan Young, after a runner-up in the Daytona 500, Christian Vargas, two-time defending champion. And Vargas got his first career win in this series at the sister track to this place, Michigan, several years ago. So Vargas knows how to win on this track type. If he can get it to the front, watch out.
Oh, yeah, we've seen it happen before. He was just dominated a race, or just was there at the right place, right time. Right now, right place, right time is top 2, being able to hold off everybody else.
And man, Crown is right on the bumper of this 10 car. Hutchinson's doing a great job defending, because right behind him is probably the hungriest driver I have ever seen in this Superstar Series. Roberto Crown Jr. really wants a win, and he's seen so far this season people getting their first career wins after a long time of waiting. So who knows? Maybe it's his time as Crown makes a lunge for the lead. Hutchinson loose off of 4.
He got quite loose, and now he might end up losing both 2 spots here, the Kings Motorsports teammates, and maybe even Finguy if he can't hang on.
Yeah, that was a big bobble by Justin Hutchinson off of turn 4. The pressure might have finally got to him. But now we have a Kings Motorsports 1-2 here in Southern California. Hutchinson going to try and get one of those spots back, making a run on the top around Teskar. He's not quite clear as they dive it off in the 3, but this is a better position for Roberto Crown Jr. He is your leader for the first time this afternoon.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, he's like one of the hungriest drivers in the field today. He wants this win, and he wants it bad, and he is going to do everything he can to protect that lead now that he has it.
Yeah, this has been a long time in the making for Roberto Crown Jr. If he can hold on. This is his 61st one-up superstar start, and he has done a very nice job of impressing people in some really good equipment. It was a bit of a gamble Kings Motorsports took in signing Crown back in 2021, but he's proven that he's worthy of the ride. He made the playoffs last year. He did a really nice job. But for a flip at Michigan, he might have been a contender for the championship. We'll never know. But he's getting this 2023 off to a fantastic start.
Oh yes, definitely. And I'll tell you, somebody who's looking to have more good luck in 2023, you look no further than than some drivers like our defending champion from 2022, Vargas. He wants to get out there. He wants to have something to say. But right now, he's just having to fight through all this traffic.
Looks like he'll be making it past both Martin and Sanders. That's a fight for the 7th position. And Aaron Hall directly ahead of the 54. This is Hall's rookie season in the Superstar Series. He could, just like Auden Koger, directly ahead. But the focus now is on the battle for 3rd. Finguy and Teskar going at it for the final spot on the podium.
Yeah, definitely. That the good fight's going on here. We've talked about it multiple times, and we'll keep talking about it. This is a great racetrack for such racing as this, as Crown tries to take off from Hutchinson.
He's built about a half-second lead, which is about as big as what Hutchinson was able to build on him earlier in this race. Crown, or Teskar, I should say, trying to get a run on Hutchinson, but he's got his own problem to deal with 2 fast Fords behind him in Finguy and Koger. And don't forget Aaron Hall in that Toyota back there as well. First Dodge in the race is Daniel Bouchard in 9th. First Chevrolet, J.D. Martin in 7th.
Yeah, you talk about Dodges. Lane Sanders was that lead Dodge for a little bit. Now he's kind of got caught up in a bunch of traffic, and it's not looking good for him to keep the top 10 at the moment. But he's hanging on just barely.
Right now he's battling Bouchard for that final spot in the top 10, along with Dylan Young, Finguy's teammate. As now Tescar's going to try and make another run at Hutchinson to try and restore the Kings Motorsports 1-2 at the front. Because I'm sure if Jared Polanski is going to start at the back and have to fight his way through traffic, I'm sure he'd love nothing more than to see his other 2 cars running 1-2 at the front. But for Teskar, he's just got to get around this 10 car to make it happen. I think he's got the car to do it. He just needs the momentum.
Absolutely. You talk about Polanski. I imagine that despite the fight he has going on in this race right now, hearing the spotter tell him where his other 2 cars are has got to make him real happy, especially hearing that Crown's in the lead.
But the Finish Line Motorsports teammates are putting Cale Teskar Jr. through the ringer right now, because Tescar's all by himself on the bottom. He's got 2 teammates above him. Hutchinson and Koger working very nicely together, and despite this being only Koger's 2nd career start in the Superstar Series, she's in very good shape at this point to get a good finish. Remember, her teammate, another teammate of hers, Mark Davey, won in his 2nd career start.
Oh, wouldn't that be quite the story for her to do that? But right now, gotta get by the O2, and it's not looking like an easy job, especially with Finguy right there to her inside.
And J.D. Martin. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting scrap, because we have a lot of fast cars and a lot of good cars battling it out for every spot in the top 10, honestly. You got pretty much every main team up at the front. You got a Kings car up there, you got Finish Line, you got FPM Revolutions up there with Vargas, you got a Carter car, you got a Genesis car, a Robbers Racing car. You got the best of the best at the front of the field here at Auto Club Speedway. Once they cross the start-finish line, we'll be halfway home.
Yeah, this has been some really good racing, and I believe we still got quite a bit more action in the remaining 35 laps. And Hutchinson, he's got to be trying to figure out. He's pretty much reversed to what Crown was doing, trying to figure out how to get by him for the lead earlier.
I think the key to that is going to be ripping the top of the racetrack because Crown seems to be more comfortable on the bottom. So if you're able to make the top groove work while Crown can't, that might be the key to getting around him. But we're still only just halfway through this race. We've got plenty of racing still to go. But I'm sure Hutchinson would love to lead as many laps as he can to try and win this race. And here he comes underneath Crown for the lead.
Yep, these two have been the ones dominating. Haven't seen anyone else go for the lead just yet, but, well, we can hope for something to be real. Even if it's just these two at the end of the race, it's going to be a good finish, like I said before.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely thrilling. A driver who's won his share of races in the Superstar Series versus a driver who's never won, and his teammate sticking his nose into the fray, Cale Tesco Jr. He's got 2 career wins of his own. So this is going to be a very close fight. And Hutchinson, I think he's just going to give way to Teskar here. He knows that he might want to try saving his stuff for the end of the race, because we'll put it this way, like we said earlier, you might not have the chance to pit again, so you might want to save your stuff in case the people around you use it up early.
Yeah, it looked like he had a little bit more fight there, but he's still fighting, but it doesn't seem like he's fighting nearly as hard as he could be, especially since it seems like these tires are starting to wear out a little bit. And I mean, we've still got a long way to go, but I honestly would not be surprised if we see a Kings Motorsports 1-2 at the end of this race.
We've got about 20 laps on these tires now, and the fall off is quite significant here. Remember, the pole time was a 37.9. And right now, I expect them to be lapping around the high 39s, low 40s. So the fall off is real, and by the end of this race, we could even see something as slow as a low 43. So these tires will fall off a significant amount, but as long as they're up, these guys will race on.
Yeah, I was just thinking, don't look now. Hutchinson, Finn guy was starting to peek to his outside, but he's backed off a bit as now Teskar under fire once again from that 10.
Yeah, this has pretty much been a battle for second behind Roberto Crone Jr., who has just been in command of this race ever since he took the lead. But I don't know. Hutchinson's got a fast car. I just don't know if it's fast in traffic, because he was fantastic while leading earlier, but not ever since he's been behind other cars. I don't know if it's just a problem with the setup, but it's just not handling as well in the dirty air. As now we've got a move by Christian Vargas. He's up into the top 5.
Yeah, he just took Koger out of the top 10 and then made a move on Finn guy, though the latter isn't exactly giving that up without a fight.
No, Jeffrey Finn guy, he wants redemption after Daytona. Same with Vargas. They had a very rough start to 2023, being held up in the scuffle with Bouchard at Daytona. But Hutchinson, he just dove it off into turn 1, snatched the lead briefly, but now 3 Toyotas lined up on the top of the racetrack. They're going to easily clear the 10.
Yep, it's a Toyota Express train on the high lane, and Hutchinson has found himself losing another spot. Maybe even losing 4th if he's not careful there with J.D. Martin up in the fray now.
But to Cale Tescar Jr., I don't think he wants to play second fiddle to Roberto Crone Jr. for the rest of this race. He wants to lead himself. But I don't know. If I'm the Kings Motorsports guys, I might be telling these guys, don't race each other that hard, because you've got a lot of challengers around you, and they're not going to treat you guys fairly. So why not just work with each other? Although there's not much opportunity for that now, as Teskar falls to 4th behind Vargas and behind J.D. Martin.
I said something about Hutchinson losing a spot. I wasn't thinking that Teskar would lose the spots with him, but here we are. And J.D. Martin, he's really trying to do something here. But here comes the champ.
Yeah, and with Martin's teammate out of the race, Martin's carrying the Robbers Racing banner all by himself today, as Vargas dives it off into turn 1 with a push from the 66. We'll see if it works off for 2, but Crown's just going to have such a good run off the top. I think it's going to be Crown leading at the end of this lap, because you just see he's got such momentum off of turn 2. That's just the way you want to run this race, honestly, is up in that top groove.
Yeah, that's where he's been wanting to be. And well, a lot of times he tried that a few times to get by Hutchinson and eventually figured out other ways. But the top side's really working for him to be able to hold the lead for the time being.
And although he likes his car on the bottom more, I think it's going to be for the best if he stays up on the top. Even if his car doesn't handle as great, that's where the speed is, and that's where they can't pass you up there if you're already there. And that's what JD Martin's trying to do. He's trying to go even higher than Crown. Not sure if that's going to work here. They dive it off into turn 3. Martin's going to try something here. He's going surprising Crown by going lower on the racetrack. We'll see if Martin can get the lead off of 4.
Yeah, this is a driver that I initially wasn't thinking might have a shot early on, but that car seems to have gotten better and better as the run goes on. So who knows? It might be that 66 we'll be seeing doing donuts on the front stretch at the end of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's JD Martin off for turn 2. He's got to get up in front of Crown quickly, but he doesn't, and that allows Crown back to his outside with a push from Christian Vargas. Crown back to the lead for a moment, but they're still side by side going into turn 3.
Yeah, JD has no help, and while this isn't restricted plate racing, those drafts do help quite a bit, as you saw right there. But that 66, it's pretty strong right now.
And he's going to lead this lap at the line, JD Martin is. What he's got to do, once he gets clear of the 81, he's got to find a way to pull up in front of him. He's got the speed to do it, and he's going to be clear of the 81 right here, but he's just not going up there to block him off. So Crown takes the lead back, with Vargas following suit. Martin falls back to 3rd.
Yeah, and you see Lane Sanders starting to sneak back in there. I believe he's back in the top 5 now after falling back to fighting for a top 10 spot for a while. These guys get to fighting and scrapping for positions. He might be able to capitalize if they're not careful.
He's back to being the lead Dodge in this race, and that's something we haven't said in quite a while. But he's got to get by Finguy, he's got to get by Martin and Vargas, and especially he's got to get by Roberto Crown Jr., as I noticed that 10 car of Hutchinson's starting to fade a little bit. He's all the way back in the 8th spot, about a full second off the lead.
Yep, and you talk about his teammate, Autumn Koger. She's back there in the tail end of the top 10 as well. Comers and goers, we've talked about it many races. It happens, and we're seeing it as normal for this one.
Coming off of turn 4 now, and it looks like the top 15 are pretty much in one big group at the front. So these guys are probably going to be the ones settling this between them. As Sanders tries to stick it up the middle with a slight push from Tescar. He comes up in front of the 92. That's what Martin was unable to do with Crown. So Sanders is going to get by Martin and move up into 3rd. A very strong run by this 87. Can he hold it is the question, as Vargas is going to try and go for the lead here.
Yeah, that's probably one time he's looking back at that 92, that Sanders is looking back at that 92 and saying, thank you. Now, excuse me, I have a lead to take. And you talk about the lead, man, Vargas wants that lead so bad.
He wants to prove he hasn't lost his edge in this series, and prove that the next generation isn't coming yet, because Roberto Crown Jr. has got to be considered one of those. But we're closing in on 20 laps to go, and Crown has been in front for a majority of this race. He's led the most laps so far. We'll see if he can hang on, but man, if he does hang on, what a popular victory this will be. But we still have 22 laps to go, coming to 21 to go at the line, and Sanders making a move on Vargas for the runner-up spot.
Yeah, Pete. Well, given his sponsor, I'd say he's like the tax man. He's coming to collect.
Yeah, well, Vargas doesn't care who the IRS sends. He's not paying his taxes, as he makes a dive underneath Lane Sanders to try and take that position back. I think if Vargas can go up the racetrack to clear the 87, but he doesn't, that's just an issue we've seen by a lot of these guys. They're not able to get up the racetrack and block their competitors. So Sanders makes his way up into 2nd now. This is going to be very interesting to see as we settle this race.
Yeah, I think what's helping Sanders out is that 0-2 of Cale Tescar Jr. giving him a little bit of draft, but then again, Vargas has Finguy behind him, so it's kind of evened out now, though. For a little while, the 54 was all on its own. Well, we're going 3 wide once again.
But that is music to Roberto Crown Jr.'s ears, hearing 3 wide behind him. This is just going to be a matter of who can get the run at the right time. Here comes Vargas with a bit of a charge down the back straightaway. He's going to make a run at Roberto Crown Jr. as Sanders and Finguy. This is a position we've seen quite a lot lately. They're battling for a 3rd spot. Finguy's wrapping the bottom. That might not work out well for him. He's able to hang on for a little bit, but yeah. Oh, he's actually able to clear the 87.
Yeah, but the matter is he going to move up, or is he going to be like a lot of others and just not be able to get it done?
I hate to break it to you guys, but we've got some lap traffic on our hands. Jesse Johns and Mark Davey, they were involved in that big wreck earlier in this race, and they are well off the pace. They're probably going to be caught in a matter of laps, and well, you hate to see this in any race, but it's just a part of racing these days. And Davey and Johns, they better start thinking about how to stay out of the way of this big battle for the lead, because it is a very intense battle.
Oh, it is an intense battle, and it could be very well interrupted by the lap cars, which I was actually getting ready to mention them when you made note of them. It looks like at least one of them is going to be, okay, maybe not easily cleared, but a little bit better cleared than others. But, well, that 44 is actually, even for the damage it's got, they're holding on strong, both of them here.
It looks like they have pace, and a comparable pace in the corners, but on the straights, they just get blown past easily. So, Davey's next up on deck to be lapped by Crown and Vargas. John's holding his own on the top, trying to hold Sanders and Finguy at bay. They get underneath him now, and at this point, I think the lap cars are going to be able to get clear without much issue.
No, except for maybe Test Car there. He's just kind of stuck there, and he's going to be passed on both sides if he doesn't get clear soon. And there he goes.
How about, and we've got ourselves a new challenger up at the front. That green and blue 77 of Sam Donotto. He started this race back in 26th, and with about 15 laps to go, he's raced his way into contention. But he's going to have to break up the Kings Motorsports 1-2 at the front, and that might be a very difficult task.
A lot of people have found it really hard, and I mentioned it earlier about Donotto. He could charge at the front. He wasn't going to be content at the front, and sure enough, here he is right now. I think it'd be great to see him get a few more spots, even if he can't get the win, but it's hard to tell what's going to happen. We've still got a little bit of time left.
Yeah, Donotto's clawed his way all the way up into the top 5. He's by far the biggest mover of the race from his 26th starting spot, but there's still 16 laps to go, and at the rate Roberto Crown Jr. is going, he wants this race over as soon as possible. He's just screaming on the radio, "Call it now! There's a clouds in the sky." But we still have 15 to go, and they're 3 wide for second. That's got to be helpful for Crown.
For a second I thought I was going to go 4 wide. Donotto thought better of it, and now they're back down to 2 wide between Vargas and Finguy, but might be 3 wide there as that 77 peaks out.
But right now, Crown holds a half-second lead over Finguy and Vargas. Donotto forges his way up to 3rd now, and J.D. Martin's starting to fight his way back up through the field. So, we've got a lot of contenders in this race still. It's anybody's guess who's going to win, but it's going to be very tough to get past that 81 unless something drastic happens.
And all this fighting trying to figure out hit by the 81, I couldn't have noticed. Along with Donotto, I see another couple of new players into this mix. I see William Brock back there, JQ Halleck. They started to move up toward the top 10 and are in the top 10 now.
Yeah, Brock started this race in 33rd, Halleck 39th. And yet, here they are in the top 10, closing in on 10 to go. This will be a very good day for both these drivers as they try and get some early season momentum. But here's Finguy closing in on Crown. This could be a very interesting scrap at the front because Finguy hasn't had a chance to lead yet today.
No, he hasn't. You just saw I'm sure you just saw right there. Crown put the block on that 92 because Roberto saw that 92 peak out and he was like, "No, you don't."
But I think Finguy is going to have a good run for 1 and 2 if he stays up top, because Crown likes the bottom. I don't know if his car just handles better down there or what, but He just likes it down there, and I think that could be a problem in the late stages, because that top of the racetrack, you don't turn the wheel as much up there, and it saves your tires up there. Crown just likes the bottom, though, and so far it's worked.
So far, but who's to say that as the tires wear down even further that we won't see that change? I'm sure he'd love, like you said earlier, he'd love for for a huge rain downpour to come along, wash the track away, and have them call it now. But doesn't look like he's going to get that. But you know, if he could hold off all the different drivers he has since he took the lead, and win this race, I'd say he more than earns it.
Yeah, but he's got to hold off some of One Up Racing's best to do it. He's got Finguy back there with 9 wins. Vargas has 10. Denoto has 2. Sanders has 2. Martin has a handful. Brock has 1. Hutchinson's got a bunch. A lot of these guys are proven winners. Roberto Crown Jr. trying to add his name to that list as we come to 11 laps to go.
11 to go is 11 laps too long for that 81 driver, and he's just keeping it.
And it looks like we got a few off pace here. Bobo Jones in trouble. He had such a strong run at Daytona, but he's going to finish well down the order. And Nick Ortiz, after the DNF at Daytona, he was running in the top 10 for a good chunk of this race. He will finish far down the order as well after some late race gremlins impact his day. But if we look up the back of the field now, you see our 500 winner, Jake McMillen's back there. He has not recovered after that second pit stop. He is running well down the order, and this could really shake up the points as a result. He is running back in 34th, and I don't think that's where he wants to be, but that's the hand that he's been dealt, and he's got to try and find his way as far forward as he can in these final 10 laps.
Yeah, that is just unfortunate, but better to have that struggle early than late in the season when you're fighting for a championship, as we've seen a few times that you get these issues that happen late in the season and you're fighting for a title. It's pretty condemning, but at the beginning of the season you have a chance to recover.
Absolutely. And Roberto Crown Jr., he is just praying that this race ends as soon as humanly possible. But looking back here, we've got 4 wide for spots further back in the top 10. This looks like the battle for 7th between Hutchinson, Koger, Sanders, and Cale Tescar Jr., who's starting to fade a little bit in that 0-2.
Yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it every now and then throughout races like this. You get those kind of people who show up with strength and then they start to fade. Sometimes they'll come back. Like we're seeing Koger and Hutchinson try to a little bit, as Finguy once again trying to find a way underneath that 81.
This is going to be really close at the end. Finguy trying everything he can. He might even get the lead at the line, but Roberto Crown Jr. is going to have the momentum off the top. Finguy leads at the line. That's his first lap led of the day. But Crown, he's going to have the run off the top, and with a push from Denoto, he might get the lead back.
Either a push from Denoto or he might try to make it 3 wide up the middle. We'll see. It looks like for now he'll stay tucked behind that 81.
Yeah, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. Finguy just can't hold the bottom. Crown can, but he's much better on the top, even though he doesn't like running there. So, it's now become a big battle between Crown, Finguy, and maybe Denoto and Vargas as well. We're closing in on 7 laps to go, and Finguy trying to keep the lead from Vargas. This could be a trend, I noticed. If you get a good run through 3 and 4, you might be able to edge the leader at the line. That could be all it takes for Jeffrey Finguy.
You say it could be all it takes, and he's clear, but will he move up? And no, he won't.
Yeah, that's been a problem all race long, is they've just been unable to clear these cars on the top because they have such a good run of momentum. They come at you so fast. But we're coming to 6 laps to go now, and Roberto Crown Jr. is just doing a fantastic job holding off these guys. And like you said, he will fully deserve this win if he can hang on for 6 more laps.
Yeah, that's what he's doing so far. He's hanging on, and you almost called him Lane Sanders.
Their cars are painted very similarly, so it's easy to make that mistake.
Yeah, where I was going with that is he's Sanders has dropped out of the top 10. He just got the 10th spot taken from him by Kel Teskar Jr. at the line back there. But yeah, this top 10 is pretty interesting. Some of the same people that were there earlier on, and then some people that we expected to come to the front later in the race when we talked about it in the pre-race.
And then you have William Brock, who fits none of those categories. He was a bit of a surprise. He was so dominant in the 500, but he makes his way to the front here. He's in the top 5 now, as we only have 5 laps of racing to go from Auto Club Speedway.
5 to go, and that's almost music to Roberto Crown Jr.'s ears. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be true music until he hears the words "checkered flag, congratulations." But he's just got to hang on as Denoto's going after Finn Guy once again.
And Denoto's going to probably clear Finn Guy off of 4. This could be Crown's biggest challenger in the 77. He's been saving his stuff in the midfield much of the day. He's decided to put the lad pedal down late, and he's making a move for second now with 4 to go.
Yep, and every lap that counts down is one lap closer to being able to let go of that breath that's being held in that under that helmet of that 81 driver.
It's going to be a thrill watching the final few laps of this race as Denoto gets a huge run down the back straightaway. Crown is devoted to that bottom lane. That might be his downfall, because here comes Sam Denoto around the outside. Could he hang on? Bobo Jones directly ahead, but he won't be a factor. They're too far behind. Coming to 3 laps to go, side by side for the lead.
He's held off all challengers since he took the lead from Hutchinson earlier, but that 77 is very strong. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe Finn Guy will help Crown. Maybe he'll try to go for the lead himself once again with JD Martin behind him.
This is going to be an absolute thrill ride for the final 2.5 laps of this race.
Here comes Brock.
And Denoto surges ahead down the back straightaway. He's going to take the lead, but Roberto Crown Jr., he loves that bottom groove, and he's going to send it off into turn 3 with a lot of speed. And coming through 3 and 4, I think Crown's just going to barely... Oh, look at the run he's got off of 3 and 4. Coming to 2 laps to go. Crown's going to take the lead back.
Yeah, he had a run, and you saw, like I mentioned, William Brock, he had a bit of a surge, but it faded. Denoto, he's still hanging in there, and he might have another shot at this.
Roberto Crown Jr. driving the race of his life right now as Sam Denoto continues his onslaught from the top rope. He comes down the back straightaway with the lead. William Brock now up to 3rd past J.D. Martin. We're coming to the white flag this time.
Yeah, I told you we might have a really good finish here, and it looks like I was right on that prediction. And these are 2 strong Toyotas right here going at it with the Dodge. Just maybe looking to capitalize on it when the white flag goes in the air.
White flag is out. We've got 1 lap to go from Auto Club. Roberto Crown Jr. just barely holding on to the lead as we dive it off into turn 1 for the final time. Denoto's going to get a huge run off the top, but will Crown be able to hold it off? Coming through out of turn 2 for the final time. This is going to be the pivotal moment of this race right here. Looks like Roberto Crown Jr. slowing. Something's happened to the 81. He's losing all his momentum. Oh, and this is tragic for Roberto Crown Jr., who's led 40 laps of this race, but he's not going to lead the one that matters. They come through 3 and 4 for the final time. Sam Denoto, he hasn't led it all today until now. He comes off turn 4 for the final time, and Sam Denoto is going to steal one at Auto Club Speedway for his 3rd career win.
Man. I was rooting for Roberto Crown Jr. and oh man, we were talking so good. I feel like we commentator cursed the man.
And for Roberto Crown Jr., after leading 40 laps of this race, 5th place is all he'll have to show for it. But they knew he was there. Man, that is a heartbreak for that 81 team. Such a strong car. Led over half the race. But they sure saw the potential he had. William Brock comes home 2nd, just ahead of Jeffrey Finguy in 3rd. Martin 4th, Crown 5th. Justin Hutchinson, the pole sitter, in 6th. Koger 7th. Vargas 8th. Dylan Young, Daniel Bouchard ran that the top 10. But man, Roberto Crown Jr. did everything right in this race. But ultimately, it was the bottom of the racetrack that was his downfall today.
Yeah, that's just... he stuck to his guns, and it worked until it didn't. And and it stopped working when he needed to work the most, which I can't even put into words. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be thinking on this one for a while.
So, from James Ellison and from myself as well, we say goodbye from Auto Club Speedway. We'll see you again next week at Las Vegas for race number 3. Congrats to Sam Denotto on the win, and our condolences to Roberto Crown Jr. He had such a strong car today. But that first win, if it's going to come one of these days, because that is a great driver, a fast team, and a fantastic car. They won't be held down for very long.